Yeah, Georgia lost some capable pieces in James Cook and Zamir White, but Kenny McIntosh and Kendall Milton are certainly extremely talented. There won't be much of a drop off at that position. That's what Greg McElroy, who played football at Bama and has been on the ESPN for some time as a analyst for the network, kind of their nerdy version of an analyst. He's very analytical, it seems to me. That's what I had to say during G Day about Georgia, its running backs, and where they are heading into 2022. You have to remember that Georgia's running backs were pretty successful in 2021 in the run to the national championship. Let me review that real quick. When you start thinking about Zamir White and all that he overcame, a five-star guy, multiple ACL injuries, but the way he was used in 2022, 2021 as a starting running back, the primary um, ball handler for the Dogs coming out of the backfield, he was pretty effective the entire season. Um, you know, remember back to that Clemson game at the start of the year. Clemson couldn't stop Georgia in the last 4 minutes of the game. They were exhausted, and that we've seen Clemson. That's not. I think that's the second time in 3 games between those two schools where the Clemson defense didn't want any part of Georgia running backs. Um, at the end of the game, and then you had James Cook, who is one of the most exceptional playmaking guys to play running back at Georgia. Um, and that's really saying something considering the playmakers that have come out of Georgia. Pick up DAWGSTRUCTION. Running out of copies of this edition. I'm going to have to order some maybe this week. We'll have to see, but make sure you get it now so that you're not missing out on graduation and Father's Day. James Cook going as high as he did, also not a surprise. Um, Certainly a top 75 player or so, whatever it was coming out of college ball. So you're replacing both of those guys. And you're replacing them with Kenny and Kendall. And the question really, really, this question to me is most about Kendall um, than it is about Kenny. So Milton is, I guess I'll put it this way. I think he's someone that people fear, um, but he's not had the capability. That's probably the wrong word, but he's not had the either opportunity or reps to really strike fear into folks. When you watched G Day, Kendall's reception from, I think it was from Stetson. I can't remember. It was on the Georgia sideline, the home sideline, where he went into the end zone. That's the sort of stuff that you'd see him do in high school film. I went out to see him in California, and he can do some pretty exceptional stuff. He just really has not had the opportunity to do it over a 12-game regular season. I think with Kenny McIntosh, we've already seen a lot of what he can do. I mean, think back to the Peach Bowl, Georgia and Cincinnati. JT Daniels certainly played well at the end of that game. I mean, if he doesn't play as well as he does, Georgia doesn't beat Cincinnati. But uh, on a slew of those throws, it was Kenny McIntosh getting the job done. I remember one play in particular where Kenny continued to put forth effort, getting Georgia a first down. Now, I don't know if that was on third down or not, but he did convert a third down. And at that point, he did convert a first down. And at that point, you're stopping the clock, which is the most important thing. So these guys definitely have the wherewithal and ability to be a dangerous duo. Now, you add Edwards and Robinson to that duo, and you're starting to build a stable of guys again. We will see what Branson Robinson brings to the table as it relates to Edwards. He is elusive in tight quarters. He would be a great number 3 running back, which it appears that he could be in 2022. This group is has the capability to not be uh, unbelievable, but to be just as deadly as the guys who have come before them. I don't know. One of them, well, it would have to be Kendall, is going to have to prove that they are um, on the same level as the running backs who just left to go to the NFL, as well as Nick, Sony, DeAndre. I mean, there have been some really good running backs uh, at Georgia, really starting and this is a long time ago, but starting with Isaiah Crowell when he got to Georgia in 11. You saw Georgia sign, and I'm just going to touch on some of these guys, not all of them. Isaiah, Keith Marshall, Todd Gurley, Nick Chubb, Sony Michel, DeAndre Swift, and then Milton and McIntosh. So they've not had any shortage of really good backs. Obviously, before that, it was a couple of years, but it was No. Marino, and then before that, Thomas Brown. You get the picture. I do think that Kendall Milton can be an exceptional running back at Georgia, but you know, it's time. That's all I'll say about that. It's time. If he can be the back that a lot of folks talk about, if he can be the back that I think he has the capability of being, then you better watch out. Again, this is what Greg had to say about these two guys. He said Georgia loses some capable pieces and James Cook and Zamir White, but Kenny McIntosh and Kendall Milton are certainly extremely talented. There won't be much of a drop off at that position. Well, there better not be, because that is one of the main things you have got to have, not just in college football, but at Georgia and in this league. If you're going to play the way that Georgia wants to play, um, your backs have to be good. And now there's another aspect of this that's a little bit different too. Yeah, Del McGee's still around, but the offensive line coach now, you've seen multiple offensive line coaches over the last few years at Georgia. From 19 until today, we've seen three offensive line coaches. Stacy Searle's background at Georgia, he was there with Thomas and Noshawn and that really good running back crew. So he understands how important, like any offensive line coach would, how important that is to your team. But yeah, I'm not going to stop talking about this. This is Kendall's moment, I think, more than anybody else. We have not seen yet the true potential of Kendall Milton. And yeah, running backs aren't what they used to be as it relates to being what their value is in the league and perhaps in the SEC. I mean, even Todd Gurley shared the ball a lot. Though days of Herschel Walker, I mean, that may as well be in black and white film. That's years, decades ago. It's gone. You have to have multiple guys, and in this case, Georgia does, and they have different types of guys. Now, will that be what pays off in 2022? Everybody has a hard time saying the year. We'll see. We'll see over the website.